Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, residents of Easton, friends and neighbors. This is Bill Ames, the co-host of The Film Connection with Priscilla Almquest Olsen. And The Film Connection has been on ECAT now for over 20 years. We're very proud of that. And we'd like to interview people who are involved in making films or distributing films or writing films or whatever, because there's a huge piece of lifelong learning, should we say, in my age bracket. You got to write a script, you got to hire actors, you have to do all these different things. So making films is the center of our show, and is an interesting pursuit for any number of those reasons. But that said, let me kick it over to my cohort here, Priscilla Almquest Olsen, to start off the questions. Priscilla?
Thank you, Bill. Such a pleasure to be here, and I'm honored to be with the famous Bill Ames, who has anchored this show for so many years, and he has allowed me to be a part of it. So thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
And now we have as our guest a local film producer, actor, screenwriter, and director. Oh, all those four things, and so important in the movie business. If you know and have actually done all those four things, you have a much better understanding of where all the pieces fit and how things should progress. So Matt Fisher from Whitman, Massachusetts, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. And tell us a little bit about your background. Now, I know you're 40 years old.
Yeah.
And you've been around quite a bit in this industry.
Yeah.
So tell us how you got started. Maybe something in your childhood, or was it just a friend who introduced you?
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of children, I think a big fan of film from the early years coming up. And right around like our teenage years is when we kind of figured out, we went through this like vibe where it was like, why don't you just do it? You know what I mean? So like my cousin he was a music dude and I was a film guy, and he pursued music, I pursued film. And it was just like, why not? And nowadays it's even easier to do that. But it was still pretty easy when we were doing it. It was like the mini DV era. Just go out, buy a camera. That was my big investment, was buying the camera, you know what I mean? Yeah.
What? The Sony?
The Sony, it was a Sony, yeah.
So what did the camera look like?
It was about yay big.
That's big.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you gotta have, if you don't have a big camera, you don't feel important. You know what I mean? That's how it is.
It's life.
And you had a nice mic on top. You had the nice, the box set on there. And mainly it was mainly for like documentaries. I came to find out later, but like we shot narratives with it, which wasn't a big deal. So we just gathered with our friends, you know what I mean? It starts off really small. You get your friends and family to help you make a movie, and then you gradually, start to meet more actors and crew in the community, and you collaborate on different projects and grow from there, so to speak. Like I was telling you, we didn't do film school. It was just kind of like a lot of watching movies, commentaries, reading books, hands-on. The most important thing is hands-on, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just getting in there and doing it is just the beginning to anything,
Sure. So what was one of your early, shall we say, professional productions?
Well, my first feature-length film was a film called Stupaman that was like a mixture of like The Toxic Avenger and Taxi Driver. Films I'm a big fan of, you know what I mean? And that was like my first big one where we had like Lloyd Kaufman came down in that. At the time there was a show called, on VH1 called The White Rapper Show. Mm-hmm. We had Sully from The White Rapper Show on there. We had a gentleman named Buddha from a band called Blood for Blood that's big in the city, stuff like that. So that was a big deal for me because that was kind of the first one. It was a mixture. It was a lot of friends and family, but like we ventured out and pulled some cameos in, which was kind of like our
what
first.
year was that?
That was 2008 is when it released, yeah. That took me, I think we started that like 2006. Took us a couple of years to finish it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
in those old days, you had a I remember the VHS. It's
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
a big. Was it VHS in the early days for you?
We had, when I first started, like the first thing I ever did with a camera was I'd shoot the family gatherings, and that was the VHS. And I took a lot of pride in that, documenting the family stuff, you know what I mean? And then it slowed. So we had the VHS cam at that point, and then Super 8, like the high 8 cams came in, and then mini DV, now then you have like DSLRs, now you have Reds and stuff like that. But yeah, technology always a changing, you know what I mean?
Well, that is a problem. I know so many families have stacks of DVDs, so the.
You mean VHS tapes?
Yeah, VHS, sorry. So what do you do with them?
I know what
Who's
you do
gonna
with them.
edit?
What you do with them is you have a close friend who's a techie buy it's a package. I think it costs $50, and it converts VHS tapes to digital. And my son gave that to me for Christmas a couple years ago, and during that visit from LA, he sat down and he did that for me. And it was wonderful because then I could take those and link them, send them to people who were in them. Yeah, so it's possible. Don't spend all that money, everybody. Don't spend all that money sending them away to, what is it, legacy.com or something like that. Yeah, you can do it yourself. And for Easton residents and for anybody who's got a library in their town, go to the library and ask them for the kit, how you do that. And I'm sure they all have it. Ames Free Library has it.
But Priscilla, in full disclosure, your son Eric is a professional filmmaker.
Well, that's true.
So you had a running start.
I did. I was so fortunate, but I took advantage while he was there.
Well, that was a good thing.
Yeah. So now I'm trying to, I don't want to put them in the trash because the tape on VHS has got toxic chemicals in them, and you don't want to put that in the landfills and get in the soil, water. So there is a place to send them away, and I've lost it. I got to go find it and then start packaging them up and mailing them off.
Yeah, there's a lot, like just about every event company, like wedding companies and stuff like that, and photography people, they can do that now. I drive down the road all the time and see people say, "You want us to convert your VHS to DVD?" I see signs a lot.
Yeah. Like we have a lot of 16 millimeters. I have my significant other, Kathy, has boxes from that her father took of these nicely, they're all on reels, of course, but with covers but there's literally 2 boxes of these things. These are big reels too.
Yes, and I think that I can tell you about a guy in town who can give you advice on that, how to convert them.
Well, yeah. I don't know whether or not to convert them or because they have what they call steam bag machines, which were the old days, which you can rent time on them. And you put them up on the, it's a mechanical device, and it goes through the picture thing, and so then you can snip as it goes, but then you gotta reconnect, and then you snip and you put it up on a nail. That's the old system. But anyway, we're digressing, but back to you, Matt.
I think there's even an app nowadays on your phone that you can just scroll over film, and it'll save to your phone as a video.
Really?
No way.
I think so, yeah.
No way.
Yeah, technology's here, guys, yeah.
God, you're the guest of the month.
Yeah,
so tell us, what is your favorite part of the film business? Is it writing a screenplay? Is it directing? Is it producing? I know producing is the biggest headache because you deal with everything from the beginning, the screenplay, you cast the actors, you're there with the director, co-directing the film for 5 months.
You got to raise the money.
And then you have to raise the funds and convince the people with the money that they like the script.
Yeah.
And then you get the actors, and then you film it, and then there's the editing at the end. So being a producer is quite a undertaking.
Yeah.
The director just shows up, to direct the movie, and then probably is just part of the editing too, right? But the producer is from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
And they're the ones who should deserve a lot of credit.
For sure.
But Which do you like directing? You like
I
producing?
I like it all, but directing I'd probably say I like more. You know, you write it down because that's kind of where I think the magic happens is when you kind of take it from the page to reality, and it's a collaborative process. You know what I mean? It keeps it exciting. You don't really, you know what I mean? You have an idea of what you're going for, but who's to say what's going to pop up? You know what I mean?
And then don't you have the added dimension of being able to communicate and inspire the actors to do what you want them to do?
Yeah, for sure. You know, we do. I usually do like heavy pre-production with the actors, so they kind of know ahead of time, like before we get on set. So kind of we're already in a place because you know things pop up, so you want to kind of already have a plan. You know what I mean? How you want it to go.
Storyboard, right?
Yeah, storyboard it, and just with talking with the actor. You know, because I like to give them free reign. It's a collaborative effort. So the actor needs to be able to feel like he's right in there creating this character with you, and they'll care more about it, do a better job with it. You know what I
So
mean?
which film that you were on and you directed did you feel most successful in that regard?
I did a film called DJ Stan the Man. It was a dark comedy a couple years back.
I saw that. You sent that to me.
Yeah.
DJ Stan the Man.
DJ Stan the Man, yeah. It's about a wedding DJ that used to be the hotshot DJ back in the 90s, and now he's current time, and he's just DJing weddings. But he thinks he's the king. He still thinks he's the man in his head.
Yeah.
Now he deals with bridezillas and all the crazy things that happen at weddings. I assisted a DJ for 4 years doing weddings. Craziness. You can't even put it in the film. That's how crazy it is, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. And liquor does it, too. But you add some liquor to that.
Oh, everything. Got everything to it.
Yeah.
Well, so you had that experience. That was great. So how many, did you have other experiences that you brought to your profession?
Sure. I mean, you can, we did a film called Insomniac, kind of like a psychological horror that, you know, I've always kind of had insomnia throughout my days, you know what I mean? I know a lot of people have it, and I thought, what a great kind of thing to tap into, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people can relate. And our story kind of revolved around, like, once you go past this peak of no sleep, it almost opens up, like, a different dimension to you, you know what I mean? Because, and sometimes things can come in, you got to be careful, you know what I mean? But
Yeah, sleeping is a big part of our lives.
huge.
No question.
Everybody get more sleep.
You
Very important.
remember Woody Allen's Sleeper?
I do.
Remember that film?
Yep.
So did you see that film?
No.
Well, Woody Allen, he's out like a life of 25 years or something like that. So he wakes up and the camera comes on him and he gets up and looking around and he says, oh, I've been asleep for 20 years. Then he thinks, I wonder how my Polaroid stock is done. It's one of the better lines he's ever had, you know, first thing he thinks about. So, so how about documentaries? Do you ever do a documentary? I mean, save yourself a lot of agony.
Yeah, I mean, they're a little bit easier. We usually do it. We'll do like a little doc for all the films we do. We do a documentary for the special features that go with it. I'm involved with a police academy documentary right now. Police Academy is like, it's a franchise from
1, 2, and 3, and 4.
There's like 7 of them. I think 8 actually. Yeah, so that was a deal, you know, big fan base for that. So we just kind of, you know, you round up the people, sit them down, talk about it. I mean, retro cult film, huge right now. You know, it's the biggest thing in the world.
Retro cult film.
Like you're older.
Like
the
Creature from the
90s.
Black Lagoon.
Well, that too, yeah.
I mean, that's way back.
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro kind of tapped into that recently. The Shape of Water, you know, just kind of. You know, everything comes back.
Retro. So that means obviously
like back
80s or 90s or whatever. That's retro.
Yeah. I guess it would all depend on what you're like talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But with Police Academy, I think it was like a 90s comedy. Not, you know, 90s was a great time for comedy. And
Airplane.
Animal
House.
Yeah, I think they were a little earlier, but like, you know, people love them. You think about everybody's favorite movies are comedy movies. If you ask somebody what their favorite movie is, 9 out of 10 times you're going to get a comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People want to smile, you know. I think the power of film in general is the kind of, you know, you can take people away from things, you know. So I think that's why they really like comedy.
It's uplifting.
It is uplifting, yeah.
But comedy is notoriously difficult to do.
There's a skill to it.
I mean,
to get the jokes and land,
Yeah. Like
Timing is everything.
Timing is everything.
I've never done a I've done a lot of documentaries,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never really had the nerve. Well, I should say it that way. I've never done a drama like that. I mean, I've been part of it, but I did a lot of. I started out doing documentaries with 8mm, and it was sort of filming scenes in Easton. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So then I figured, God, I gotta add some sound to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it's all it did. So that, I don't know whether Super 8 had sound or not. I don't think it did. But so then I had to go to 16, right?
Yeah.
Because it's got a soundtrack. So then that's when my journey began, when I started putting the sound on the 16mm, and then they had 3/4-inch tape, and I was hooked too. Because it is a wonderful feeling to look back when you get the documentaries, you get the music right that fits the
Scene.
what's going on, and you know, you edit to the beat neatly, you know, and
You're doing the story justice, like in your own way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's wonderful, and but I think directing actors and that sort of thing is
It can be tough.
Can be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, you surround yourself with people who probably are on the same wavelength that you are with a certain film, say.
Yeah.
And how do you find those people?
Well, we have a community, like with the kick up of social media, MySpaces and Facebooks back in the day. Well, Facebook now, but MySpace back in the day. You know, you just kind of tap in. Like I said, we started with family and friends, and then you kind of, when social media came in, you could link up with other people with like-minded, things that they enjoy. That's kind of when it came in. And then I found out that, Massachusetts had a film community, and I started working with other filmmakers and stuff like that. I worked with other actors, and it just kind of, it blossoms because, everybody's looking to, everybody in the community is looking to work. There's not a lot of films that happen, in Massachusetts. So
Well, isn't Massachusetts known for a very favorable tax relief?
for the bigger Hollywood films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been trying to convince my son of that.
Move back.
Well, not only that, but just to come to Massachusetts and film.
Well, it's they had a big studio where it was in Plymouth, right? You remember that?
They were going
There
to
was
do
sort of
Plymouth
a
Rock
bust.
there, I think.
Yes, I know.
That great big I don't know who invested in that.
I don't know.
They must have been out of their minds.
A lot of people had big faith in that happening.
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
I remember that. That
egging
was
each other on.
that was so sad.
That was very sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. So tell us. You obviously have a day job, and so tell us how you mix the two. I mean, you got a 9-to-5er. Or whatever, and then you got to make film, or how does it? Give me what's it?
So we typically will shoot on the weekends, and throughout the week it's just with the phone you can be on it whenever. When you're at work, don't tell the boss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like you can, you can do that, and then we shoot on the weekends, and typically I'll write it, and then we'll gather the people we're going to put in it and start to plan and do audition folks and. Bring them in, I like to do table reads. I like to try and, like I was telling Priscilla, I was like, I like to really get on the same, like, before we step on set, I like to kind of have everybody kind of know what they're doing.
So everybody sits around a table.
Yeah, so like we'll
go over it.
Yeah, we'll sit around the table or we'll do a Zoom or something like that and just go through the script, throw around ideas,
Zoom, that must be a big help.
Zoom's a big help, you know what I mean? For sure.
Oh, yeah. Wow,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Who are some of the people that you really admire that have actually come into play into some of your films?
Like Lloyd, we had Lloyd and Stupaman and all those people that we mentioned. We had Sabrina Dennison was in Insomniac. She was in an old cult film called Santa Sangre. It's like an art house film. Stuff like that. We've gone to conventions and, you hand out your films and, we've had, like Kevin Eastman was a fan of DJ Stan, the man, the guy who created the Ninja Turtles. We got a podcast called the Boombasticast. So we have like people on there too, which is cool because we can then open them up to our films. And
Now let's tell the people your company is called Bombastic Media.
Yeah, so we got Boombastic Films.
Oh, Boombastic
with
Films.
2 O's. It's about to get tricky because the podcasting thing is Boombastic Media, but it's all under like the Boombastic umbrella, so to speak. You know what I mean? We started the podcasting when like COVID broke out, you know, a little before it, you know, because me and my co-host Alex Hawk, an actor producer, you know, being from Massachusetts, you don't really get a chance to stumble into like somebody at the coffee shop or at the grocery store for them to give you some advice or hear some inside scoop. So we started the show really to be able to kind of talk to people that we really appreciate, that we grew up and were influenced and entertained by, whether it be film, music, comics, whatever it may be, and just kind of bring them in, and they give us, you know, anywhere from an hour to 3 hours sometimes, and just kind of talk shop with them, you know. That's what.
This is a podcast.
This is a podcast, yeah.
Now let's talk about that.
Okay.
So I've done a lot of podcasts in my day, but do you have how do you open? Do you have a musical tune that opens you every time?
Yeah.
So then you say, "Hi, this is Matt Fisher."
Correct. So we'll do it. We open it up and we do like, you know, welcome back. You know what I mean? Welcome back to the Boombastic Cast. You know, we got a cool new guest, you know, this week.
So you got the mic there, and there's a couple of guys or ladies, whatever, around here.
No, we don't have a big operation like that. We just do Zoom. You know what I mean? So we'll do it on Zoom, and because we got them coming in from like everywhere. You know what I mean? We just like, you remember Taco from Putting on the Ritz song?
Mm-hmm.
I remember Putting on the Ritz.
Yeah. We had him. He was on the show a couple months back.
How'd you get a hold of him?
Well, just reaching out, you know. Your social media, you know, reaching out to try and find agents, websites, stuff like that. So that's why Zoom will work for that, because he's in Germany. So we definitely can't bring him in for the interview.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So we usually we'll Zoom with a lot of people from California, all over. Zoom's really, like you said, Zoom's, you know, it's a blessing because you can talk to anybody, anywhere, anytime type deal.
Yeah. And you can record it. And you get a transcription.
For sure. Audio and video.
Like huge.
Audio and video.
Yeah, that's like huge.
Yeah.
So you got a script of all your podcasts.
Yeah.
You just set up files for each one, and you got the transcription of them.
Yeah.
So it's a handy record. So your average podcast is what, you set up to 3 hours, or?
Well, like we don't go really like an hour has been our shortest one. We go as long as they're willing to go with us. Sometimes they'll give us 3 hours. Sometimes they give us an hour and a half, which is cool. We're glad to have any amount of time with them that we can get. You know what I mean? It's a blessing that they give you their time. You know what I mean?
So I mean, now then do you edit it at all?
Yep, my co-host Alex edits.
So if it's pick a dead section where it's not that interesting, you just
I mean, luckily enough, knock on wood, you know, we've been pretty good with going through it, because we prepare, like, in the sense of, like, if we know an actor is coming on or whatever, we do a deep. We're usually typically fans of them in general, but we dip into some, you know, go back and watch some movies, and we take a lot of notes.
Got to be prepared.
Got to be prepared
before they come on.
Got to be prepared, yeah. And we take a lot of notes and going back with questions. We try and bring up questions that we think other people that are fans of them, like we are, would want to know. You know what I mean?
So, what have you gotten any future business from any of these guests? Yeah,
I mean, there's a documentary I might be doing with somebody on like a rock and roll coming up. Yeah, there's always stuff. There's cameos. We've had people that we've interviewed and they've done small parts in our movies. You know, the best thing is, like, it's cool because, like, you'll get to meet somebody you really respect. You get a good dialogue with them. You know, you get to talk. You know, then it extends and goes further. Then they see a movie and they'll, you know, when they hit you back up and go, I really like that movie. You know, I mean, that's kind of some of the best stuff that comes from that. You know, and we're not looking for them to be like, we're going to open all the doors for you. Just them saying they liked the movie is beautiful, you know what I mean? Like, I like the fact that people that, in my home movie collection, people's movies that I own, I like to know that somewhere in their collection my movies are, you know what I mean? Which is cool.
Backlinks.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you must get people who have been on your podcast who then refer you to other people. And so you're networking and you're getting the benefit of that with future films, probably. Yeah, well, and other guests. Like, we've had guests come on that have had so much fun that they've been like, well, you want to talk to this guy too. We've had that happen a few times. And it's opened up doors with other, you know, people, which was cool. Yeah. You know, that's the thing. It's like, it's like, those are the cool things, you know. Like, you can make
somebody can come give you a big chunk of money for what you do or whatever, but you could talk to somebody you respect and then be like, I really like that movie.
So
you can take that with you when you die, the good thoughts. Yeah.
So I was interested in this, and I've been to Podbean, or I've been to all these sites.
Spotify.
The way we did it, the way I did it, was I would call somebody on the telephone, and then
we did that. Yeah.
And there's a server, this place in Texas, which does the service. So I'd put them on hold. Then I'd call the service in Texas. So we were setting up a three-way call.
Yeah.
And then, punch the codes in and go like that. So, and then it would create a HDMI file. And maybe that was for the, well, it was some sort of rich text format, or what is it, HDMI? Well, anyhow, it was all like squiggly codes and stuff like that. And they put it on a page and post it, and there it is.
Yeah. The RS feed.
All right, maybe that was what it was. I've forgotten now, but that would be good for us, Priscilla. I think we should have a Film Connection podcast.
Should. You guys ever think about doing an audio, getting on like a Spotify or an Apple, or
stuff
something like that, to go with, like we do. Our video show goes on YouTube, but we also put they have audio episodes of that that go on Spotify and iHeartRadio and all those things too. You just want to get the biggest audience you can, you know what I mean?
So it's a WAV file that you create, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, we download it and then we zoom it. I get the file, we'll mix it. I'll take the audio, clean it up. My co-host Alex will do some editing on the video, and I do the audio stuff. We just kind of clean it up, add the music to it.
So, but if this is a podcast, you don't need the video, though, right?
Oh, the video is the best part
of a podcast.
I think so.
So we're talking video podcasts here. So what's the diff? Why do they call it a podcast?
I don't know, but I think it's just the way it is. You could call it a YouTube show or a web show, I guess. But you'd much rather look at the people, I feel. You'd much rather look at the people than just hear them. I mean, if you can only hear them, that's cool. But you want to be able to see how they're reacting to things and stuff like that,
I guess, I guess there's two schools of thought, but that is certainly one of them.
Yeah, sure.
But I always visualized when I was making that people were paying the bills and cleaning up the dishes or something while they're listening to the podcast. You know what I mean?
We have certain shows that are just audio because I think there is definitely a place for that. You know what I mean? For sure. Yeah.
But it's amazing. The technology has advanced so that you can have video, you add music, and
we can create a podcast right here, Priscilla.
Yeah, we could.
For sure.
ECAT.
Yeah.
Early days in Easton or something like that. But I think it's essential to have these, like a little bit of music at the beginning, a little bit of most podcasts, really professional ones, seem to have a well-rehearsed beginning.
Yeah, well, it's like a TV show,
Yeah, it has a little attention-getting music and stuff like that.
So what are your plans for the future?
Just keep doing what we're doing. Right now we're shooting a new movie called The Wicked Hollows, kind of based off of the Bridgewater Triangle, which is, haunted folklore around here.
Good around here.
I know you guys have the Hockomock Film Festival.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, Hockomock's a part, at least the Hockomock that I know is a part of the Bridgewater Triangle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, just continuing with getting this film done. When this film's done, we'll send it out to festivals and stuff like that, see how far we can get with the reach of it, see what we can get for distribution, you know what I mean? And, there's a few projects lined up after that in the film department and the podcasts. We have a network of podcasts now with the Boombastic Media Network, and we have 11 shows. Some, I'm on some of them, some I'm not on. It's just a big group of the people that we do film with and all the stuff we do with, they come in and do, different themed shows.
So what's your plan in terms of trying to monetize this? I mean, you get to a certain level, right?
Yeah. So we have a Patreon page, Boombastic Streaming. You familiar with Patreon at all?
No.
So it's kind of like a new age fan club type deal. So let's say, we have this page. It's got different tiers: $5 tier, $10 tier, $20 tier. Somebody would come in and go, I like what they do. For the different tiers, they figure out where they want, how they want to support, and then they kind of plug in, and then for monthly, they pay monthly. And then through that, they get all the shows that I said that we only have audio of. You get all them uncut videos on the Patreon page. You get you'll see the movie there first. You know what I mean? So you offer up a lot of exclusive.
How do you spell this Parthenon?
Patreon.
Patron.
REON.
Patreon.
Patreon, yeah.
Patreon.
What do you think that means?
Like a, I don't know, like a patron?
Some sort of
A
animal?
futuristic patron?
But I like that, though. 'Cause,
It's very cool. I think that's the future of anybody doing like an art form, whether you do music, film, whatever you do, it's tapping you right into your audience, which I think that's like where you need to be. Because right now you have to, like I said, distribution. Like if you got to find somebody bigger to put out your movie, whereas and if you put it there and you slowly build your audience and you start getting a lot of activity to that page, you'll think it slowly picks up. You know what I mean?
And then the Patreon is a way you can get paid as a producer.
Right. Yeah. So
because they sign up for these different levels.
Yeah.
And that creates the income that can part of which can pay you.
Yeah.
It's sort of cool to get paid for what you do. I mean,
For
I know
sure.
you got a day job that pays the bills, but just to have your art making you some income.
Yeah, for sure. It's good. And like I said, we go to conventions and we do screenings, like the movie will premiere. Like for an independent filmer, I think your premiere is one of the biggest chunks of money you get for it, in an indie, like underground film world, because you can, you rent the theater and you could make $1,500 just showing it. Yeah,
like at the Cleveland Circle Theater or something. Or
yeah, like any rent the
Brookline.
Cineplex. Yeah,
during the day type of thing. Yeah.
you can do the night too. Be more money.
Yeah.
But you can do the night too.
Dedham Community Theater.
I know the Dedham. We were gonna bring the movie to the Dedham Community Theater, but it was a weird thing with the time. They had a weird time slot. They're good people though. They let us borrow some
I
lights,
go to movies there all the time.
They're good folks.
Yeah, they're trying hard.
They are. The time, I think, like for usually, because now with everything digital, theaters like if they're playing like the new Star Wars movie, it's digital. So like if they don't play Star Wars at 3 or whatever, and they played like my movie, they would be able to trace that back and be like, well, why didn't you play Star Wars at that time? Because it's all on a computer. Yeah. They know when it's not being played.
It's a two-way street. I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
and that's how all theaters are like that. Even like when we go rent the theater to put it in a movie, Hollywood does the same thing. They just do it in a bigger capacity. Instead of renting one theater, they're renting 1,300 theaters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's speaking of that, they've had a tough time since COVID. They've built it back, and that Taylor Swift just blew the numbers through the roof.
Yeah.
The Dedham Community Theater.
Her live show that she's
Well,
got going
the
around
Era
there?
show, the Eras
Like
show.
the movie show thing.
Yeah, the one it's the one of her performance at the Coliseum in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
saw
a
that.
3-hour movie.
Yeah.
And my granddaughter, 7 years old, danced for 3 hours to that movie.
Oh, sure. She's
Yeah,
a
the kids, they
phenomenon
can't get
right now.
enough.
Yeah.
Kathy and I went. We only lasted for 2 hours. I couldn't take
That's
it.
still pretty good. That's a pretty
It's-
good run. 2 hours.
Yeah, and
I
I
couldn't
was
do it.
so impressed though.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is.
Was it more? Was it more than just music? Was there like
It was
a big message intertwined in it or something like that?
Not that I could perceive.
No.
Maybe the kids that know the lyrics to the songs,
Yeah.
which they all do, but I couldn't. I couldn't lip sync. I couldn't lip read. You had to lip read.
Yeah.
But she's such a charismatic personality.
Right. Nobody's bigger than her right now.
Absolutely.
She's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's amazing. And they had these enormous tech screens.
Mm.
And that's the real star of the show, you could argue, is the tech
Yeah.
and the lights that they get going.
For sure.
And, I've heard really good things about her. She takes care of her people. And so even the truck drivers who drive the trucks that have all the equipment and stage stuff and all that, costumes and everything in there, they get thousands of dollars after each performance.
Yeah, have you heard about her boyfriend, this football player
Yes.
for Kansas City?
Right.
So the big question is, if Taylor Swift goes to one of his Kansas City games, what are the odds that they'll win versus if she doesn't go?
True.
It's all tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
So they're having fun with it. So her legend just grows and grows with something like that.
And she's young, so
Right.
She's only
she'll be around
mid-30s,
forever.
early 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was great to get close. It was great for the Dedham Community Theater because it got people back to
sure.
watching the big screen,
Yeah.
which is slowly happening, I think.
Yeah.
Can you tell people, our audience, where that's located?
It's in the center of Dedham.
Mm-hmm. And it's called?
Dedham Community Theater.
Right.
Yeah, it's 2 screens.
Mm-hmm.
I go there, not to talk about me enough, but yeah, I go there a couple of times, once a week on Fridays.
It's right in the center.
A lot of
right?
independent
There's
films.
Yeah. There's not a lot of parking, I don't think, right? Yeah.
Well, I think your podcasting is interesting.
Thank you.
I guess that's so you got the filmmaking and the podcasting and you got a bunch of pals who are similar fellow travelers, and you're learning new tech all the time as you go. I mean, what could be more fun than that? I mean, if you're
Keeping things exciting.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
go to the festivals.
Yep. Festivals, conventions.
Have you gone to the Sundance Festival?
No Sundance, no.
That's in
Never
the fall,
accepted.
Labor Day.
Yeah.
But it's worth. I'd love to go to that just as a as a
Spectator.
retail.
Oh, I'm sure it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. It's in Telluride.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's in Utah. But there's
Right.
a Telluride Film Festival too, which is in the fall, I think, something like that. But there's a Woods Hole Festival. That's the one you should probably shoot for.
Yeah.
I think that's coming up.
There's so many.
Yeah.
Every town has 1,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know.
That's right.
Well, you guys going, right?
Well, the Hockomock
Are you
Film
really?
Festival. Yeah.
You're connected to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been going for 22 years now.
Very cool.
Mm.
Yeah, and just high school students.
Okay.
In the early days, we had it so that anybody could enter.
Mm.
But we realized that it's much better just to limit it to the high schools.
Gives them a better opportunity to.
Yeah, and the we had one when we first started this team called this guy Lewis and his girlfriend Linda. They were, God, an hour and a half of ducks swimming around in the pond. Then we we sort of learned as we went.
Yeah.
Then we got the length down to 8 minutes, not an hour and a half.
Yeah.
That's sort of funny, but yeah, that's sort of a festival of sorts. It's basically a competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But it's wonderful to get, and I'm sure you can appreciate this because you started young too, get these young people, these teenagers involved in taking film seriously and being creative and producing. And then when we have winners, and we have winners, and I emceed that last year, if you recall.
Yeah, it's very important.
And you got an award, Bill.
I
As
did.
a founder.
Very touched. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And
Very nice.
you and Ed Hands and Bill, who's the other Bill?
Bill Little.
Little, right.
We started out because we wanted to start a local film festival in Easton.
Yeah.
See, like you were talking about. But we'd sit down and we'd discuss it. It's clearly a lot of work.
Mm.
And you had to raise money, and no one was in a mood to do that. So someone at the table said, well, let's just have a home brew. So we started it as the Easton Film Festival.
Mm.
You had to live in Easton or wink, wink, maybe Norton,
Yeah.
if it was especially good. So that got a good number of entries, and Ed Hands from the high school and whatever. But then, it's sort of a grow or die thing. So we spread it to the Hockomock, and the woman at Sharon, I forget her name, I know it perfectly well. She jumped right on it. She said, well, we'll contribute to your annual Hockomock Film Festival. And then
That was part of the Sharon Cultural District.
yeah, something like that. And then another one said, like in Stoughton, who sort of taught media, said, well, we're on it too. So you get these key players at the various schools.
But then Northeastern Savings Bank really kicked in.
They kicked in. They were great.
Major-
Northeastern Savings Bank.
Major contributor.
3K, very
Yep.
kind of them,
Right.
off the bat. Tom Dubler and our good friend Courtney Palm.
One thing that I want to do, Bill, is to go through all the files and trace some of these winners to see where they are today.
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
because
that
20 years ago,
Yeah.
you were
Pursued,
20.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I would
were.
have been there.
Yeah.
It's very cool that they do that for the school, though. I think it's important. It's the art form of film is very good for them to be able to vibe with it, and it's important, And then, especially in high school, you hear so many horror stories of like kids going through tough times. It's like through high school, being creative. There's like no better moral boost, you know what I mean, to make you feel. Give you some self-worth if you don't, you hear all these horrible stories of kids being very sad and doing terrible things, it's almost like if they had more of a creative outlet to express themselves.
And then when they come back to reunion 15 years later, they can watch it and they
And
put a
have
big,
fun.
good smile on their face.
Yeah.
You know, there we were back. Look at me.
I tell people all the time with films that they're like time capsules. You know,
Yeah.
what I mean? You go back and you look and go, there's like my nephew when he was 3. You know, there's so and so when they were
And
like
it's
alive. You know what I
it's
mean? It's,
nicely edited with some good sound.
Yeah.
People watch it. The best documentary music video we ever had was Welcome to Canton High.
mm.
And they orchestrated this thing. The whole school was walking down the
Yes,
corridors.
I have seen that. That was amazing.
Amazing.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Really powerful.
Wonderfully done. And they did it 3 times. Third time they got it perfectly, but it was all no, what do they call it? No editing.
Yeah.
Constant.
Like one
They had the
cut, yeah.
cameras all set up. It was that was extraordinary.
Yeah, it was.
Welcome to Canton High.
Mm.
Well, Matt, I think we just about scratched the surface here.
Yeah.
We want to get you back.
I'd love to come back. This was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, the podcast thing is a fascinating world, and it's nice to see that you have a bunch of different venues, all of which are basically the same media outreach, and then you've got YouTube and Facebook that circle a globe.
Right.
So versus years ago, of course, it's so exciting.
Yeah.
But get in touch with us when, especially after a major film that you produce, and
when this new one's done.
and because we can also not just interview you, but we can promote the movie.
Cool.
Yeah,
like
we'd
it.
like to do that.
Yeah.
So this is Bill Ames and Priscilla Almquest Olsen. We've had a wonderful chat here with Matt Fisher, a local filmmaker and podcast expert and fascinating guest. So thank you all for watching The Film Connection. We look forward to having you join us for our next presentation, our next program, I should say. So thank you very much and have a good rest of your day.
Until next time, be well.